Swing to Jimmy Mickle. Inside break under D-Rich's arm. Finding Laurie. Laurie on the goal line. Big cross field. Finding Abe Kaufman for the quick score. 1-0 Dallas.
And that's a long point for Dallas. If you're Raleigh, you're pretty happy you're able to stop their pull play, get a turn. You know, they're not happy how that offensive possession went, but, you know, making long points for Dallas in this heat, especially early in the game, kind of sets the tone for what we might have in store the rest of the game.
One thing to pick up there with Raleigh's defensive offense out there, it looked like it was a little stagnant from the cutters. Justin Allen tries to come back and handle. Looked like he was trying to hug it to D-Rich, but D-Rich was coming under. Quick turnover. If Raleigh's going to win this game, their defense is going to have to get some breaks. Looks like an offsides by Dallas. So Raleigh will get the disc at half field.
And what a deadly cutting combination you have out there with Fairfax and Williams, two of the most dynamic athletes on the field here.
Not to mention having Terrence Mitchell and Goose Helton as your other cutters. Noah Saul finding the aforementioned Goose Helton. Swings it over to Mitchell. Mitchell being hawked by Ben Lewis. That's a big D right there from Kai Marshall. Able to get the D on Jack Williams there. Dalton Smith now finding Freechild, who's going to want the disc every other, it seems.
You know, really important in these early possessions is to do what it takes to really hammer it in. You didn't see Raleigh take advantage. Dallas showing a little bit more, well, as we say, showing a little bit more patience, but eventually turning it, and that was Dan Emmons with the turnover.
Curse of the announcer, unfortunately. Noah Saul sealing out his defender. And Nutt taking a shot here for Jacob Fairfax. Oh, he's got that all day. Nutt to Fairfax, 1-1.
And you really can't let Jacob Fairfax get behind you, especially as the last back, especially with the disc in Jonathan Nethercutt's hands. Great backhand. You'd throw to that matchup if it was even. You definitely throw to that matchup when Jacob Fairfax has steps deep.
Yeah, nothing against Dalton Smith. Very good defender, Texas A&M, but he's a little outclassed there by Jacob Fairfax.
That's fine. That's a victory in the pressure game. Come on.
All right, Raleigh's D-line coming out here. Liam Sears Bowles, Jeff Norgren, Tim McAllister, Evan Howie, Mike Pinoni, Nate Goff, and Brett Matsuka. Looking to get another turn like their first line did, hopefully getting a break to open this game up for Raleigh.
And neither team able to take advantage of their first defensive, offensive possession. You know, you wonder the magnitude of this game. Maybe they're a little jittery in the beginning, on the doorstep of getting that first break.
Mickle taking the shot here for Kirk Gibson. If Tim can get his head around, he can make a play, and he does. Great awareness by Tim McAllister. Looks like Kirk could have gone up earlier. He's pointing to his chest there to Jimmy, saying, that's my bad. Look for that matchup to try again later. Matsuka opting to stay in the end zone to pick up the disc instead of walk it up.
And Raleigh with at least one more handler out there with Sears Bowles.
He might be, Jeff Norgren unable to squeeze that, and Thomas Slack real quick to Matt Jackson. Quick score for the Dallas Roughnecks. Unfortunate for Norgren right there.
And you look at that offensive possession, handlers deep in their own goal. you really are looking for some shorter movement rather than trying to make big deliberate cuts from the cutters. You know, you're better off just kind of pipping, popping a little bit to get the handlers moving. You got Brett Madzuka in there. It should be in every other situation. Instead, they turn it over on their own goal line and another squandered opportunity.
Are you okay with Brett picking it up in the end zone there? Would you like to see him slow it down maybe and walk it up? I mean, is there really any advantage to trying to pick it up in the middle of the end zone instead of getting those additional yards so that you're not backtracking into your end zone?
I'm certainly okay with it if you think you have a good outlet pass, or maybe if you can center it right away. You know, the difference for a couple yards isn't that big with such a dynamic thrower.
Not taking a shot to Jack Williams. Oh, and Jack goes up over the defender, able to get it, dumps it to Bode. Bode outside the end zone, looking for somebody in red to throw it to. Double team applied by Dallas, and Bode breaks the mark, finding Jacob Fairfax. Another huck from Nutt to Jack Williams. Bode to Fairfax, 2-2.
And you see Nutt early in this game. That's very important for the Raleigh Flyers to get into a rhythm. Jonathan Nethercutt throwing 2 dime ball backhand hucks to start this game off. That's what you expect from your leaders of your team. Setting the tone.
It's important to know that there isn't a lot of wind, but it is a little blustery coming as a crosswind. It's a little challenging to those throwers, but somebody like Nutt, you expect him to be able to make those throw in the wind, and he is coming out there throwing dime balls to his best targets, Jacob Fairfax and Jack Williams, who are, of course, going to go up and make a play every single time. The pull from Allen. Another big sailing flick pull. Gibson at the break mark. Raleigh applying a force middle, it looks like. Slack finding Gibson. Looks like Raleigh's real content with letting them get these unders. They're really not trying to let Dallas go deep here.
Well, they're trying to have certain matchups go deep. It looks like they're trying to force Brandon Malachek away from the disc, having Brett Madzuka guard him, fronting him when he's going a little bit deep, kind of challenging that throw almost, and then having Brett just kind of clog in the middle of the field here.
And a big huck here. Looks like Laurie's able to run past Allen for the goal, 3-2.
And that's a beautiful throw by Matt Jackson. High degree of difficulty, throwing that inside-out backhand to the receiver, running away. That's a very difficult throw to space and really makes it look easy.
We talk about the throw of the future here a lot in North Carolina with the disc trailing away from the defender. Justin Allen wasn't in a bad position there, but the throw gave him absolutely no chance there.
Still hot. Still hot. Still really warm. Have water in your hand while you go.
So Raleigh looking for the quick response. There is 6 minutes and 16 seconds remaining on the clock in the first quarter. This pull looks like it's about to go out of bounds, and it is. It's like Nethercutt picking up, being guarded by Chris Mazer.
Jay Frood on Matt Bode in the middle of the field. Important matchup to take a look at.
Oh, and a slip there from Brian Casey. Looks like his feet just fell and buckled up from under him. Turnover real quick on Raleigh's first throw. Freechild with the disc now being guarded by Saul. Swings it over to Kai Marshall. Seem to just be content with working the break side. Raleigh's kind of giving it to them. Oh, Oh, and a great catch by Chris Mazer on the hand block almost from Jay. Oh, and Jay Fruit streaks up line. That's a break for the, Dallas Roughnecks there. Unfortunate. Really good defense by Noah Saul on Dylan Freechild's throw. Mazer's able to catch it, swings the break to a streaking Jay Fruit, 4-2 Dallas. Unfortunate for Raleigh there from the slip, and then them unable to get the disc to fall on the hand block.
On replay.
Both teams trying to take advantage of big cutting lanes. Both teams having a little bit of difficulty getting that second and third cut off of the initiation cut.
And Dallas is really seeming to use the break side a lot this game. They're able to swing the disc almost with ease. I know Noah Saul right there getting his hand on the disc, but that's been Dallas's mantra this whole game thus far. They're really swinging to that break side, trying to move Raleigh out of their comfort zone defensively. Let's see if Raleigh can quickly respond here. Nethercutt streaking to Goose Helton. Looks to bump it. Now he's going to take the shot here, and Ben Dieter's going to have to run. Oh, man. Good seal out right there by the defender. Looks like Chris Larberg able to box Dieter out of that.
Let's go, boy!
And when you're talking about the throw of the future, that is actually the look that they're trying to accomplish there. It's just if you don't get it just right, it gives the defender an opportunity to make a play. And that time, Ben Dieter just boxed out.
And it looks like a foul there on Nethercutt. Knocks the disc out of Freechild's hand. That's going to be 10 yards for the Dallas Roughnecks. It's strange to see on that huck that Dieter was unable to run that down. I've seen Dieter make that play many times. I know you playing as his teammate, you've seen him do that as well.
Sure, I think he just started, he's a little bit underneath it, and with the disc trailing over his head, the defender able to get on his back shoulder, able to keep that position. I mean, I think if the throw is a little bit more out in front of Dieter, I think he gets it.
Taking a shot here for the end zone. Oh, and he makes the catch. Dalton Smith bobbles it on Nethercutt. Does secure it as his feet come down. An interesting throw there from Dylan Larberg. And now Dallas is up 5-2 with 4 minutes and 24 seconds remaining in the first quarter. That's back-to-back breaks for the Roughnecks.
And this is a really important moment for Raleigh. They need to sort of circle the wagons, make sure that they're not getting that lead too far out in front of them in this first quarter. You're really just trying to get your defense back out on the field. They were able to generate a couple turns. The offense just misfiring a little bit to start this game.
On Austin.
And they know when they're playing a team as talented as Dallas, they need to keep it close. So with each break, the pressure starts to build.
If you're Coach Denardis, do you take a timeout if you don't score here?
I may have taken a timeout before this point, but I think, Coach Denardis has a lot of faith in his players, and I think that, if they don't score, if they get down there and get a stall, or their offense gets a little stalled out, you might see them take a timeout. But they really like to preserve those timeouts for defensive possessions.
And it looks like a goal there. Another huck from Jonathan Nethercutt, this time to Goose Helton. Dallas thinking that he maybe wasn't in, but Goose with a little hop, step and a jump to get into the end zone. That's 5-3 for the Raleigh Flyers. They got to come out and get a break before this quarter ends with 3 minutes and 58 seconds left in the first.
Yeah, speaking of timeouts, I think what you will see is should the Raleigh defense get another break, they could call a timeout very quick and get the offense out on the field.
For the record, Nutt is 3 for 3 in terms of his hucks. Looking like they're taking advantage of maybe not bad Dallas D, but maybe uneven matchups. They got Goose, Jack, Jacob Fairfax, Matt Bode. You want to take advantage of these shots, and Raleigh definitely might have the more athletic players out there, and especially in terms of height.
Well, Jonathan Nethercutt is really the only thing that has been working so far for the Raleigh offense. And, as a leader, he's trying to take a little bit of the pressure off some of his other guys.
Is Raleigh's absence of Dave Snoke on the offensive handling side, is that a bigger story than, say, Hunter Taylor not being able to play? As looks like Malachek finds Gibson, and Gibson trying to hit Ben Laurie, but Mike Pannoni there for the D. The former Pittsburgh Thunderbird. Oh, and Thomas Slack hand blocking Matsuka's throw, pushing it towards the ground.
Yeah, that looked like just a turf to me.
Gibson finds Laurie, and another break side throw to Matt Jackson, and he's able to toe the line for the goal for Dallas. 6-3 Roughnecks.
And we thought, should Raleigh get a turn on that point, that they might use one of their timeouts.
Mike Donardis does love those timeouts.
And you see there, what great separation for Matt Jackson.
Back up. Back up.
Beautiful backhand. Front cone. Dallas really throwing with some confidence right now.
And you can't expect the defenders to be able to guard somebody 100% of the time on a 53-yard field like the AUDL's played on. They're working that break side like we talked about. I'm wondering if Raleigh is cognizant of trying to keep that disc from breaking so easily that their defenders are going to have a chance, because Laurie was able to not only catch the disc on the break side, but be able to take his time to throw a perfectly weighted ball to Matt Jackson for him to run on. Noah Saul finding Nethercutt. Looks like Frood is guarding Goose. Jack Williams finding Goose. Big hammer by Goose. Is Terrence going to get there? Oh! He was able to catch it, but he dropped it on the impact of the ground. A high stall count hammer from Goose there. And really athletic play by Mitchell. Unfortunately, the ground impacted as it goes down. There's a huck up here finding Frood. And he was in for the break for the Roughnecks. 7-3.
And the reverse bookends for Helton there. You know, you saw him get kind of stalled out on that sideline, and when the first cut wasn't available deep, you know, then Dallas is pretty much fronting all the other guys on the field. Great elevation, good use of body by Frood there. You love to see him go with the opposite hand, go with the left hand there. Maintaining that separation for his body, controlling the placement of the defender.
Going to Worley.
Wasn't the prettiest throw by Larberg there, but it got there. Frood made an excellent athletic play going up, like you said, with his outside left hand. He's able to, you know, obviously he's already got the height over Goose, but he's a pretty athletic guy himself. And that's another break for Dallas. They're up 7-3. A lot of breaks early for Dallas. Raleigh's going to have to show some grit and tenacity and come back into this game.
You know, you talk about that throw not being the best, but Dallas doing a pretty good job of throwing some less floaty passes, more pinpoint, and they're doing a better job of finding those deep receivers.
Dieter on the break side, finding Justin Allen.
And there's really no cuts for the Raleigh Flyers in this intermediate zone.
Now Dallas doing a good job of, if they're poaching off their men, they're quickly picking up. Lots of team chemistry here for the Roughnecks. Raleigh moving the disc down a little bit better, and Nutt's going to take a shot here. Oh, and Jack Williams climbing the ladder, able to get over both Dan Emmons, and I believe that's Jay Frood. Nope, just kidding, Jay Frood's right in front of me. It's somebody else, I can't tell, but that's an excellent goal.
Sorry, what?
Turn him down.
All right, 7-4, Raleigh Flyers are down. A couple breaks here to Dallas. Nutt's got his another goal for his third. Nutt has a third assist in the first quarter, which is a one bright spot. And like Pope, you said, he is really the only shining moment for Raleigh right now.
Well, besides the receivers, I mean, Jack and Fairfax have made a couple of great catches, but, you know, as far as controlling the offense, we're really having to see it go through Nutt early, and without it, we're not seeing a lot of movement. You know, I've been impressed with Dallas's ability to front the cutters and really stifle, get some later stalls for the Flyers, and you know, it's led to a couple turnovers early in this game.
And if Raleigh's going to get back into this game, they're going to have to start generating turns and efficiency on that D-line offense, as Mickle has the disc on the break side being guarded by Liam Sears Bowles. Some dark clouds moving into Wake Med. Let's see if it brings some rain, and some droplets are already starting to form on the field. Laurie on the other side being guarded by David Richardson. Looks like Raleigh's locking a little bit down. Malachek fakes the huck. Hits a 20-yard under Jimmy Mickle. Looks like a contact call on Micah Hood on Kurt Gibson, so that's 10 yards to the Roughnecks. Haven't seen a lot of calls yet. 2 contact calls thus far. Been pretty clean game. Little give and go action with Laurie and Gibson. Big swing here to finding Matt Jackson. Ooh, and a high release flick from Jackson finding Jimmy Mickle. That's a goal for the Dallas Roughnecks. 8-4, 45 seconds remain in the game, or in the first quarter.
Ready? Go into replay.
As you can see there, the high release from Matt Jackson, able to throw it above his mark, able to break it to Jimmy Mickle, who elevates for the goal. And Dallas really flexing their muscles right here. And Jimmy Mickle, for 8-4, that's his first goal. He really hasn't been a factor in this game. Hasn't needed to make any big throws, any big catches. It shows about Dallas's strength in terms of their roster. When you have somebody like Dylan Freechild and Jimmy Mickle, only 1 point between the two of them for the first quarter.
Yes, white!
So this is important. You see again, Raleigh just having a tough time advancing the disc up the field. Dallas doing a little bit of a switching zone here, fronting the lane, and that throw off the mark from Jacob Fairfax.
Looks like Terrence Mitchell was trying to break away from him the other way, and Fairfax pointing to his chest and talking to him about it. It's an unfortunate turn for Raleigh, and 16 seconds left. That's another break for the Dallas Roughnecks.
All right, go into replay.
And you know, we talk about some of the Dallas stars not necessarily having to make as many plays in this game. Well, Raleigh has given them a short field on numerous breaks so far. So, you know, when you have that situation, it's almost like who's ever right there is picking up the disc and they're scoring before Raleigh can get back on D.
Yeah, absolutely. Most of Raleigh's defenders, once that disc had turned, were already down the field. It was like 3 against 2, easy goal for the Dallas Roughnecks. But this is not Dallas taking the disc from Raleigh. This is Raleigh giving the disc to Dallas and not being able to stop them. If Raleigh has any chance of coming back in this game, which of course 5 points is definitely doable over 3 quarters, they're going to need to stop turning it over.
Well, they're, you know, getting a point here before the end of the quarter would be a huge momentum shift.
And Guth with the big stop and a contact call. Is Dieter going to get there? Oh, I think there's going to be I think it's coming back on a contact here from Goose. So Raleigh will get a 10-yard advantage here with 1.8 seconds left.
Oh, and you just want Dieter to be able to make that catch. Glory for the old man.
The former irate really would have loved to have that one. Now Dallas is able to secure a 2-man double team. Goose has 2 seconds. Clock will start on his throw, so he'll have a full stall call if he'd like, but if he dumps it, the throw is going to have to happen extremely fast. So let's see if Goose can get this off.
And Freechild versus Allen right in the front of this cone, in the front of the end zone here. It's hard to imagine Goose not trying something upside down, maybe to Nate Golf or...
Got some wind rolling in here. It'll be tough for this hammer, especially with Kai Marshall and Stanley Peterson guarding that hammer area.
Oh, I'm thinking more of a blade at this point, one with just 2 seconds left.
He's got Dieter floating in the middle. Looks like a little zone marking here from Dallas.
Remember,
Oh,
Ben Dieter makes the grab. Beautiful cut by Ben Dieter. He had been sort of letting his thrower know, hey, I can get open to the front here. Just give me a chance. And Guth throws a nice pass in between a couple Dallas defenders to find Ben Dieter.
Absolutely. Unbelievable athleticism. Good sportsmanship from Freechild right there, picking up Ben Dieter. But that's a big goal as the clock expires for the first quarter. Dallas up 9-5. Raleigh with some work to do.
And Raleigh can be, pleased getting that point. A tiny little bit of momentum for them possibly going into the second quarter. Looks like they're starting out on defense. So they really avoided giving Dallas an extra possession by getting that goal. But the Raleigh Flyers have always relied on their defense to keep them in games and make plays. And you're going to see some stacked lines coming out of the Raleigh Flyers at some critical moments in this game. And this is one of them to start the second quarter.
Well, actually, it looks like there is 1 second remaining. Apparently, that throw did not end the quarter. So Dallas will have an opportunity, and I do believe Raleigh will get the disc as the second quarter begins. So if they can prevent Dallas from getting a goal with 1 second, they will be able to have an opportunity. And a big bomb here from Chris Mazer. He's got a lot of tall receivers. Oh, and Jack Williams able to knock that down. No late quarter heroics from Dallas. And now the quarter officially ends 9-5. Dallas Roughnecks up. All right, and we're back. The second quarter's beginning. More fans are rolling in here at Wake Med Soccer Park. CJ Colicchio alongside of Taylor Pope. The Raleigh Flyers and the Dallas Roughnecks, the AUDL South Divisional Playoff matchup winner goes to Montreal. Right now, Dallas is up 9-5, Pope.
And the stakes could never be higher for Raleigh in this game. They made it to the Final Four their inaugural year in 2015, but Dallas not in the league that year. And since then, they've kind of had a little brother, big brother mentality with Dallas, obviously winning last year, going undefeated. Raleigh absolutely thinks that they can hang with Dallas, but not showing it through that first quarter.
Raleigh has been a strong contender throughout the South. They've been beating teams pretty rampantly. They were able to get a 7-point victory on these very same Dallas Roughnecks, but obviously they were a little short-staffed that game. But Raleigh has had little adversity this season. This might be their biggest test, which is kind of a negative considering it is the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't think you can say that this is the same Dallas team that Raleigh beat several weeks ago. They were limited strength with some injuries to key players, and now Dallas obviously full strength and firing on all cylinders.
It's like Dalton Smith with the contact foul on Nethercutt. Oh, and Jack Williams shakes his defender right outside the goal line. And he breaks the mark for the goal. Williams to Nethercutt.
And I just love Jack Williams' game. So smooth, so graceful in his movements. And then, you think a guy like him who's such an incredible deep threat might be a little bit challenged as a thrower, but his throws are exceptional as well.
And a quick inside break there. Dalton Smith really has no chance of seeing that. He's face guarding Nutt. He's doing a really good job of it, but Jack Williams with the slick inside break there. Raleigh with the quick score, 9-6 Dallas.
Going to Worley.
If Raleigh's going to have any chance of coming back in this game, they're going to need their offense to be as fluid as they were there. Matsuka with the pull here. Wind's picking up a little bit. Not the deepest pull.
But good hang time on that pull.
Absolutely.
And inbounds, so you're able to set your defense. And Raleigh coming out with a shell. David Richardson deep. Brett, Pannoni. Jeff Nordgren poaching underneath a little bit.
Abe Coffin able to find Thomas slack through the zone. Mickle taking the shot here, and Abe Coffin is wide open. Looks like a breakdown in Raleigh's defense there.
And the beauty of that throw from Mickle, outside in flick down the line, has the bend of the throw away from the defender. D-Rich in the middle of the field. Of course, a backhand there puts D-Rich in play, but the flick down the line never gives him a chance.
And somebody with as caliber of throwing as Jimmy Mickle, you don't want to leave a receiver that wide open.
Going to Austin, sorry.
And CJ, we have the benefit of being on the Dallas sideline, and really it's been kind of a low energy business mentality from this sideline, kind of just, you know, this is how we do things. And so far they haven't had to apply a lot of pressure to Raleigh, just been getting some nice easy turns.
And as we say that, Jacob Fairfax coming to the rescue of Jonathan Nethercutt, who takes the shot here for Jack Williams, who's being guarded by Kai Marshall. Oh, and an extremely athletic play by Kai Marshall there, able to get around Jack Williams. Was an incredible layout D right there from Marshall, who is taller than Jack. Jack pointing to his chest saying, "My bad there," to Nethercutt.
You don't see that too often. Usually Jack Williams with steps deep, disc in the air is 100%. Kai Marshall making an excellent catch-up defensive block there.
And here comes the shot from Dan Emmons, and this is a high, towering throw to
look
Riggins.
for Jack Williams to maybe...
Oh! And it looks like his own teammate hit him, and looks like Riggins is down.
Can you zoom in on the player?
And we'll see if we can get a replay of that catch.
Looks like he's all right. Look, just like he took a bump on the head right there. He's going to take an injury. And here was the replay. Yeah, Kai Marshall coming in there looking like he's trying to get the disc and just clocks his own teammate right there, Riggins. But impressively enough, is able to hold on to the disc. So Dallas will have the possession outside the goal line here. Not the best throw from Dan Emmons there, but an incredibly athletic play by Riggins to be able to go up there and get the play. And Gibson on the goal line, playing Gibgo with Freechild and Spike Zilla. Let's see if he does something. He's probably going to flip the... Oh, no, he's not going to flip the disc trap thing like he does in Dallas. Another break for Dallas, 11-6.
All right, going to replay. And roll.
And that very cut here you see from Dylan Freechild, staple of his quote-unquote Oregon-style offensive handler movement that
Back up top.
he coined while in school there. Excellent give-and-go design, really making it look easy.
And unfortunately for Raleigh, that's another break, and they still have yet to really force a turn on this Dallas offense. They've looked like a machine out there, and like you said here on the sideline, it's pretty even keel, not so intense, very business-like environment. They're just coming in here and doing their job. Raleigh has to start making them work for it if they want to get back in this game. Looks like Brian Casey hitting Justin Allen. Allen opts to not huck the disc. A little tight mark there by Larberg. Chris Larberg. His brother Dylan obviously also still on this team. Raleigh swings it over.
And you see Dallas really taking a firm fronting approach to these downfield cutters, challenging them to keep throwing it deep.
Yeah, especially by the goal line. Raleigh not going to be taking a lot of shots here, but Bode and Nutt playing some give and go. And that's easy, fundamental offense from Matt Bode and Jonathan Nethercutt. 11-7, Dallas
And that play really broke open when they were able to get it off the sideline. Justin Allen taking the contact call, able to swing it pretty early off the sideline to Nutt, working it all the way to the other side of the field. And that just allowed the spacing to redevelop for the Raleigh Flyers offense and let the handlers do their thing.
Absolutely, a quick lefty there from Bode, able to break the mark, hit Nutt in stride, really get away from their defenders, making their job a lot easier, especially by the goal line. You know, with Dave Snoke not playing as a handler, we're seeing Noah Saul and Matt Bode backfield a little bit more. That's going to be key for them to really stretch that offense.
And I think that's fine. You know, Matt Bode may have a, an air about him of being a little bit of a hothead player, but he's very conservative with the disc and, doesn't take a lot of shots deep. And when he does, they're usually high percentage. So having him as a facilitator for the offense is fine.
Nice scuba over the top from Dallas there. Raleigh playing sort of junk zone. Laurie here on the sideline. Matt Jackson just running all over the place.
And Raleigh applying a little bit of pressure, forcing Dallas into their plan B right now.
Ooh, dangerous throw. Gibson's able to snag under the cover of McAllister.
Looked like McAllister may have gotten a little piece on that.
And the cuts from Dallas are just very fluid, very high chemistry on this team. They're able to cut right when the other needs to. And a big throw here from Jackson. Is Shane Cisco going to get up there and make a play? He is. It's a great D right there from Shane Cisco on Abe Coffin. Probably not the look there from Jackson.
Well, it's over the stack into the opposite corner of the field. That's great if you're throwing it from the middle of the field, but when you're throwing it all the way across the field, you give the defenders more time to make up that ground.
Matsuka running with the disc up the field.
And this, what we may be seeing right now is
I think a contact call here.
Yeah, an offensive strategy I heard that the Raleigh Flyers might employ, which is heavy Brett Matsuka give-and-go centric, really trying to use his motor to get every other pass down the field.
Nice break there, finding Liam Sears Bowles. I think a timeout's being called here by Coach DeNardis, and it is.
And I just love that call. Your defense did their job. They got the turn. They worked it down the field, put the offense in an excellent position to score.
You're both on crowd shots. Can one of you give me something else?
Yeah, and with 6 minutes and 41 seconds remaining in the second quarter, Raleigh has yet to break Dallas, but if they break here, that could really start a trend that they're going to need to get back into this game.
Sure, let's roll it. All right, we're going to roll a replay of a defensive play we just had.
And you'd like to see Raleigh come out right now. Looks like we're going to get a replay of the D.
Yeah, and like you said, Pope, if that throws in the middle of the field, it makes that a lot easier. The defender really doesn't have a better chance of making that play, but somebody like Shane Cisco, he's going to be able to catch up to that.
Sure, and it's really what Matt Jackson can see there. He can't really see the separation the same way that he can from a different vantage point in the middle of the field. And, Raleigh with the disc here, we would love to see 10 short passes and scoring in the front of the end zone. That'll build a lot of confidence for them. If they have to go over the top, I think they'd be settling at this point. Not having a break in the game, you're really wanting to just drive this one in.
And Mazer guarding Nutt as the disc is tapped in. Nutt floating it out to space. Oh, that's going to be a contact foul and going through the back of Noah Saul by Freechild there.
And Noah Saul lucky to get that call because that disc was over his head. I guess we should say Nutt's a little lucky there, but the Raleigh Flyers on the doorstep.
Wind's picking up here a little bit. Fairfax able to get it to Nutt. Oh, and a big bid there by Dan Emmons. Big man almost got that.
Dallas able to shift around their D.
Wow, what an incredible catch by Noah Saul. That thing had some mustard on it.
And a little bit of swagger out of Noah Saul. Excellent two-way player. Great offensive and defensive player, Noah Saul. And a leader on this team as well. Makes a nice snag. Able to get a little bit of separation.
Absolutely right. And Noah Saul, he might want to be sometimes one of the quietest guys in the huddle, but his plays are speaking louder than it needs to be right now. Raleigh with their first break of the game. Dallas still up 11-8. We have 6 minutes and 3 seconds left in the second quarter. Let's see if Raleigh can capitalize on one break. Liam with the high sailing pull. Looks like it'll land in.
It looks like Dallas is coming out with a flood look to the left side of the field.
And Kirk Gibson's going deep.
And that's just too far.
Oh, he's going to have a chance. No. Looks like Raleigh catches a break there. It's not very often that Brandon Mechanix doesn't hit Kirk Gibson.
And if you're Raleigh, you are really trying to capitalize on this little bit of momentum. Don't be surprised if Mike DeNardis uses his second timeout. Get the offense back on the field.
Oh, and here comes the shot. Oh, no, Justin Allen not looking for D-Rich. It's interesting, like you said, maybe DeNardis would use the timeout here. This is in the middle. It's off the sideline. Might be a good time to settle and get your offense on. But he seems confident in letting his defensive offense go to work.
Certainly if they start to stall out offensively, I think you might see it. This is a super important break, but you also want to give your defense some confidence, letting them knock one in.
And just like we said, and you said, with the high stall count, Coach DeNardis does take his second timeout. Going to put the offense on there with the second break opportunity in a row. This will put Raleigh back in a good position. Being down 5 like they were earlier in the quarter, this is important for them to come back strong with 2 consecutive breaks and 3 points in a row.
Yep, I like that pan. Good job. All right, we're going to go back to Worley. All right, we'll go back to offside.
And the fans really coming out to support their home team today. Obviously the biggest game of the season for the Raleigh Flyers.
The Triangle community really does love the Flyers. They love coming out to games. I've talked to many people, especially the hangar, which is like, you know, the heckling section. They really do love the Flyers, the ownership, the coach, the players. There's a good camaraderie. There's a lot of support that the Flyers do with the community, with middle school, with high school, with the gender equity movement. There's a lot of community build back with this Raleigh Flyers team. You can see it from the fans today. A lot of kids here, which is good.
Obviously Youth Ultimate in the Triangle having a lot of success lately with the U20 team Triforce for the men bringing home the championship, and the women's U20 team Warhawks also winning.
Oh, and an incredible catch by Jacob Fairfax through the contact of Joe Clutton.
Possibly more impressive, the Warhawks, the women's team, being the first non-Seattle team, women's team, to win the national championship for under-20s.
Absolutely. They just dropped a new highlight tape, and I suggest everybody take a chance to watch that as Helton gets nut, and is he able to toe the line? He is! What a goal for the Raleigh Flyers. Another break. Helton to nut.
Going to replay?
And let's go ahead and take a look at that replay here as Helton throws a backhand around Jay Frood.
And you're seeing the Raleigh Flyers play with a little bit more swag. You know, you love Nut anytime you can throw to him, whether it's short or deep. He's an excellent receiver. Very underrated deep cutter. Excellent in the air.
All right, I'm going to go to Worley quick.
Great hands. And you're starting to see a little bit more energy on this Dallas sideline. as the game just got a little bit closer. They know what the Raleigh Flyers can bring.
All right, we're going to go to Austin.
And to think this game would be over in the first half, down 5, is a fallacy.
And you want to talk about impact players. The Raleigh Flyers have 9 points. Nethercutt has 6 points with goals and assists. He has 6 of their 9.
Well, we've seen him put up big performances this year. I think it was against Jacksonville. He had double-digit assists.
He had 13 assists in that Raleigh win over Dallas. 14 assists, 7 alone in the third quarter. But yes, he has been hitting a lot of double digits in games, and he does. Oh, and it looks like an offensive foul on Dallas here. Looks like a pick was called. So yes, like you said, John Nethercutt is no stranger to big games like this, and today is no exception as he is recording points early and often.
And you're seeing Raleigh forcing Kurt Gibson downfield, putting, well, now you see him with the disc, but
big.
Matt Jackson with another floaty huck.
Oh, but Abe Coffin able to get up over Shane Cisco. Unlucky for Cisco there. He was in good position. Matt Jackson not doing his receivers any favor there.
Hard to downplay that grab by Abe Coffin over Shane Cisco. Not a slouch in the air.
Yeah, that's a big towering floaty huck that Abe Coffin just goes up, puts his body up there.
And you see the fundamentals there again. Abe Coffin going with the left hand, keeping the separation of his body in between the defender and the disc, giving himself a little bit more angle to make that grab. Great fundamentals. You know, you younger players out there, you really want to be comfortable going off of each foot, going up with each hand, just like a basketball player. Make layups on both sides of the hoop.
If you're Coach Patrick Eberle, are you talking to Matt Jackson at all? Are you telling him, hey, careful on these shots?
No, I think, Matt Jackson, a leader on this team, he knows that he, got away with one there. If you're the coach, you hope that your players will self-correct.
Raleigh with the disc now.
You may give him a little bit of side eye, a little bit of a look.
High stall count here for Raleigh. Floaty, disc ball. Oh, my goodness. Unfortunately for Goose, he's unable to grab that. And there it is. Dallas taking the quick opportunity. Looks like Chris Mazer finding Stanley Peterson. That's a quick break.
All right, going to replay.
And right there, Goose is unable to come down with the catch. A little floaty from Nethercutt, unfortunately. Still gets his hand on it. You kind of expect Goose to get that. And then Dallas quick in transition here. Mazer just floating it over the defenders there, finding Peterson.
Well, Helton, after that turn, needs to get on his horse and play some D. Got a little bit lethargic getting back to his man on that. Disc is up, and, he wasn't looking. I don't blame Goose for that turnover. I think, that throw was certainly high. Raleigh taking long cuts back to the disc. It's a little windy out here, and on those longer passes on the in cuts, there's a little bit less room for error. That one just floated just high enough for it to be a turnover. And once again, Raleigh giving Dallas a short field for a break.
You're talking about telling the kids what to look for in terms of good ultimate habits. When you're playing, don't beat yourself up, right? You make a mistake, it's okay. You got to put your head up, find the person that was guarding you, guard them. Unfortunately for Goose right there, not really the case there. Peterson's able to streak past him for the goal. So it's 13-9 now. Dallas up, 2 minutes and 36 seconds. And Raleigh's going to have to be a little bit more efficient on their O-line throughout this rest of the game. D-line's gotten 2 breaks this quarter, which is important. They're going to need a couple more to get back in this game.
And I'm looking for Goose to get right back on that horse here. The type of player he is, he wants that disc in his hands immediately after that.
Being guarded by Jay Frood, but able to find Justin Allen. Big swing here. Oh, that's another sailing throw from Nethercutt. And even Jacob Fairfax isn't able to come down with that one.
Still up top.
And I saw Nethercutt before the game. He promised me no more than 2 turnovers in the game. I think that's his second. So
actually got him for 3.
You got him for 3, so he's already one over his max. But you know, you use so much emotional energy coming back in these games. A lot of times, as you get close, it's easy to have a little bit of a let up.
It looks like a tailing throw and a greatest attempt.
Nice job by Brian Casey following the play.
That was Dylan Larberg attempting the greatest attempt, but Brian Casey, a savvy veteran of the game, able to knock that down straight to the ground. No chance for a second attempt. Raleigh with the disc again. Big bid there from Matt Bennett. And Nuts taking another shot, this time to Justin Allen. Oh, and a great defensive play there.
And the refs calling incidental contact. Both players jockeying for position. You like to see the refs letting them play there.
And that was Ben Lewis on Justin Allen there. Able to put his bigger body in front of Allen, unable to get around him. We got 54 seconds, final minute in the second quarter. And looks like a timeout being called by Dallas. Going to get their O-line on for a very important break back.
Important to note here that the weather could play a role once this game gets past halftime. If we do have lightning in the area, that could lead to a game suspension and possible early end. AUDL rules, if the game does make it past halftime, they're going to make every effort to get the game going again, but with a weather delay and the stadium needing to be turned over about 5 o'clock, the Raleigh Flyers might find themselves in a situation unable to come back.
Absolutely. We saw in D.C. yesterday the first point, unfortunately, 36 seconds into the game. The Montreal Royale and D.C. Breeze game had to be delayed 2.5 hours due to weather. They did resume the game ending in the D.C. Breeze's favor, winning 25-16 over the Montreal Royale. But that game, it lasted about 4 hours, Pope. I don't think we have that kind of longevity that we can play with here. As you mentioned, the stadium does have to be given up. So hopefully Raleigh can get this going before the weather decides to start messing it up. So Kirk Gibson picking up for Dallas. They have 49 seconds to try and break Raleigh again.
And Dallas going with a little bit more athletic lineup with Jay Fruit out there. And you know, with under a minute, it's easy to think that you have to rush this offensive possession, but a minute in ultimate is an eternity. And Dallas really with plenty of time to just work this disc down the field, with the last thing they want to do giving Raleigh half a minute or so to score.
Nice break
themselves
there by Jay Fruit, finding Jimmy Mickle. And like you said, there's an eternity here. 28 seconds left. There's still plenty of time for Dallas to move down the field with ease, especially with these throwers.
Yeah, they want the last possession here.
Gibson finding Coffin. 16 seconds remaining. Low throw, scooped by Laurie.
I think Dallas has another timeout. They could center this disc.
They got 5 seconds to work with. Was that throw down? It was. They're going to pick a shot here. Oh, and the time's going to run out, unfortunately. So that's not going to get off. The half ends 13-9.
It looks like...
Oh.
And they are calling that at the end of the half. Thought there may be a call, which would have been huge for Raleigh if they could have gotten the last-ditch huck off there. Nate Goff was open deep. And here we are, after Raleigh's able to rattle off a couple breaks. Dallas able to respond, and we still have a 4-point deficit for Raleigh. A little bit better situation than they finished the first quarter with, but still trailing the Dallas Roughnecks by 4.
Yep, so when we come back, the third quarter will begin. Dallas Roughnecks up 13-9 over the Raleigh Flyers. I'm CJ Clicker here for Taylor Pope, and we'll see you at the beginning of the third quarter. We have some dark clouds moving into Wake Med Soccer Park. Let's see if Raleigh can start this third quarter off with a bang. Hopefully kind of catch up some points in case of what you were talking about earlier, Pope, with that lightning possibility. Then Laurie with the disc, finding Gibson.
You know, and I had a chance to walk over to the Raleigh Flyers sideline, just kind of get a vibe of where their minds were at, and they seem pretty loose. You know, they definitely believe in themselves. They think that they can generate some Ds and get back in this game.
Earlier in the season, the Flyers were down 6 to the DC Breeze in the fourth quarter, and they were able to come back as a deep shot here. And Tim McAllister is going to get in front of that on Kirk Gibson. That's another D on Kirk Gibson by Tim McAllister. He's got to be feeling pretty good about himself right now.
Yeah, Tim McAllister, a very underrated defender, exceptional footwork, former football player. You know, you do not want to run into that guy. He'll hit you like a ton of bricks, and great positioning by him. You know, I think Dallas, you know.
Oh, an unfortunate. Unable to get that as the lanky Nate Goff.
Yeah, and that's just takes the air out of you a little bit after getting that early turn. And
big swing by Coffin, able to find Malachek.
And Raleigh certainly applying some pressure here.
Laurie with the disc outside the goal line, opts to not hit in there, but finds Jimmy Mickle for the goal. 14-9 Dallas.
And you see there, Raleigh definitely strategizing, trying to get Kirk Gibson away from the disc, forcing him out, able to get the turn on a less than stellar huck by Jimmy Mickle, and then turning it over on a wide open in cut. Raleigh, their own worst enemy right now. Dallas extending that lead back out to 5.
And it's not really breezy here, Pope. I mean, we're on the ground right now. The wind is kind of swirling at times, but you'd have to think with the kind of throwers that Raleigh has. I mean, you've played with.
Not a factor.
Yeah, it's not a factor. Like this is just mental.
It's a factor. Mistakes. It's a factor when you put the disc up in the air. You know, it's going to sit in the air a little bit, but the throwers that we have out on display today should be able to easily overcome any of the conditions that we have right now. Yeah.
Not taking the shot here. He's got Jack Williams streaking. Once again, Kai Marshall coming in over top, but Jack Williams able to run that one down. A quick strike from Nethercutt to Williams. It's 14-10. Dallas still ahead.
And you're going to see Jack Williams do a much better job of maintaining his body position on this one. He knows he let Kai Marshall get around him a little bit on the last one when Kai was able to make that D, but here Jack Williams gets position, keeps that, goes up with 2 hands, keeps the disc in front of him. Excellent throw by Jonathan Nethercutt. You know, you've seen him throw that almost inside-out backhand that just finds plane and keeps on trucking. High degree of difficulty to throw that disc both in the air and have it continue its forward momentum. A lot of throwers throw that flick anywhere near the height that Nethercutt does. It often will stall out before reaching the end zone, but Nethercutt able to just power that.
Sailing pull here from Liam Sears Bowles, and that one's going to go out of bounds, giving Dallas the disc at the break mark.
Could be some of the Warhawks over there trying to get them involved a little bit.
And going back to that huck, you talked about Jack Williams. You know, he learned from his earlier mistake here, and that's maybe something Raleigh needs to do as a collective whole. They're going to have to be able to learn from their earlier mistakes as Mike Pinoni gets a soft contact D. Looks like him and Jimmy Mickle are laughing about it. Looks like the ref is quick to blow that contact call. 10 yards for Dallas.
I mean, you say learning from your mistakes, but when your mistakes are throwing it too high and turfing it, you know, it's kind of like you just got to find a little bit of confidence, a little bit of swagger.
And easy up the line. Forsythe throws there for Dallas, and Gibson finding Laurie for the 15-10 lead over the Raleigh Flyers.
All right, going to replay.
And looking at this replay, as you can see, a lefty from slack finding a streaking Gibson, burning McAllister, and then quickly for Laurie,
Back up top.
beating his man Cisco. If Raleigh's going to come back in this game, it cannot be that easy. They're going to have to do something.
A little bit of a gut check here for Raleigh. You know, the lead's been extended to 5. They've been able to hold a couple times. The Raleigh offense needs to score this one, obviously, and just pray that their defense can start generating some turns.
Looks like pressuring defense here by Dallas downfield. Not able to find Noah Saul.
And the Raleigh and the Flyers definitely believing that they are more than, you know, this almost one-dimensional game of huck and hope that they've been playing, relying.
Ooh.
Yeah. They've been relying on Nutt to generate a lot of their offense with, you know, deep throws to Jack and deep throws to Fairfax, but, you know, they got to show another dimension against this Dallas D because they're feeding right into Dallas's game plan.
A big huck here. Can Nutt approach it on Frood? And not a chance. Jay Frood runs it down with ease. A Chris Mazer huck over the head of Jonathan Nethercutt after the huck turn by the Raleigh Flyers. 16-10 Dallas. And just a really good throw here. Oh, I'm sorry, that was Dalton Smith, not Mazer, but Dalton Smith able to put that to a place where Jonathan Nethercutt would not have any chance of getting.
Back up top.
Yeah, and if you're the Raleigh Flyers here, you know, you're coming out with your offensive strategy. They're trying to generate, you know, good 3 cuts in the middle of the field, big in cuts, leading to some streaking deep cuts in continuation. When that's not working because you're getting fronted the way that Dallas is fronting you, you have to work the disc laterally before you can work the disc vertically. And that means that Raleigh needs to generate some dumps and swings to really calm down their throwers and start to work the disc up the field. You got to have more than deep shots from Nutt if they're going to win this game.
And Dallas only is guarding them, expecting Raleigh to throw the huck. It's been working for them.
Well, they're challenging them to throw the huck. It's in their game plan. And miscommunication on the dump between Noah Saul and Brian Casey.
Once again, Raleigh giving the disc back to Dallas in a goal-scoring opportunity. And Dylan Freechild hitting Dan Emmons with the emphatic spike.
Dallas really taking control of the game in this third quarter. You know, this was the time in the first meeting when Raleigh was pouring it on Dallas. Dallas really, you know, not having the legs to keep up with them, but now you see Dallas at full strength, steamrolling into the end zone against this Raleigh Flyers team that hasn't really shown that they have an answer for the defensive pressure that Dallas is putting on them. They swing the disc, they look upfield, they have one deep cut, but they don't have any of those good open intermediary cuts to really chew up field.
And if I'm Raleigh, I'm not worried that we're not going to come back in this game. We're not going to make a late rally. But, you know, if this is a football game, it's a one-score possession. This is 7 scores here.
No, yeah. If you're Raleigh, you're worried. There's no question. You're searching for answers at this point. And, you know, they just need to get something going with the offense.
And it might come through here with Liam Sears Bowles joining the offense here. able to find Fairfax.
When in doubt, young legs.
That's right. A little give and go action with 3 people here between Williams, Goose, and Nutt. And Matt Bode getting in on the scoring action. A strike here from Jacob Fairfax, finding Matt Bode. It's Bode's first goal of the game.
We're getting close to now or never time for the Raleigh Flyers defense. Can you generate some turns and get some momentum? Not only getting a couple breaks, but maybe taking some pressure off of an offensive unit that has shown an inability to score consistently.
Like you said earlier, we have the benefit of being on the Dallas sideline, and there's really no signs of them getting tired or slowing down. That business as usual mentality is very rampant here on the sidelines. And you got to hope that Raleigh can start ramping up the tenacity, especially on D, maybe getting some layout Ds. You know, one huge layout D from David Richardson or Nate Goff, or somebody just stopping this flow of the Dallas O-line. Something to get Raleigh back in this game with 7 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in the third quarter. And Jimmy Mickle taking the shot for Kirk Gibson here. He's just going to glide into that. He's got Abe Coffin streaking with him. Oh, and a rare turnover by Kirk Gibson. Floats it right over the head of Abe Coffin. Raleigh with the chance here. Matsuka picking up. Good break of the mark there by Matsuka. Double team applied by Malachek and Tim McAllister, and Matsuka not on the same page there. Gibson on the break side, finding Malachek, and he's able to get the goal for the Dallas Roughnecks. Another opportunity squandered by the Raleigh Flyers.
And you look at that goal. Dallas starts with the disc, swing, 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 continuation. That's how you score. You know, you don't score by holding on to it and trying to jam it into a cutter running back at you. And Dallas really doing a good job of moving the disc laterally to then move it vertically. And they've been doing that since the first point.
Going to Austin.
Raleigh able to apply pressure, but their defensive offense unable to get any sort of consistency moving the Frisbee.
And we talked about that earlier in this game with Raleigh's had chances. You think about the first couple points, Dallas had some miscommunications, and Raleigh was unable to turn those into points that they could definitely use right now. And right now, still late in this game, we're seeing those errors as well. Tim McAllister is not doing fundamentals of squaring up with his handler and just kind of dumping it with where he thinks Matsuka will be. If Raleigh's going to come back, they're going to have to start being more efficient. And it looks like a stall called on Nethercutt.
And Dallas is just piling on here.
Mazer picking up the disc here. Looks like Jay Fruit will be his isolation.
You know, if we had a graphic of where Raleigh has given Dallas the Frisbee on for their defensive offense, I mean, everything is within the brick. And here on the replay again, what do? Swing, swing, continuation. They're moving laterally to get that disc in the end zone.
And back up top.
Another assist from Dylan Freechild to Dan Emmons. That's another break. And oddly enough, you know, you never really see Jonathan Nethercutt get stalled out. But there, like you said, if we were to have that graph to see where Raleigh has turned the disc over, it'd be pretty shocking to see how many times it's been within 25 yards of their own goal line. You know, when you're a coach, you're going to say we're going to turn the disc over. You want to turn the disc over down the field so that the team has to work its way up the field. That's not really the case here. Raleigh is giving the disc to Dallas. It's not that Dallas is taking the disc away. They are literally just giving it to them outside their goal line. 19-11, 6 minutes left in the third quarter. Goose Helton able to swing it.
And
looks like Jack Williams in the handler role right now.
And Raleigh just trying anything different to mix it up. All right, let's move Nut downfield a little bit, take a little bit of pressure off of him.
And a beautiful throw from Nethercutt, finding Shane Cisco for the goal. 19-12, Dallas.
And you say beautiful throw, I say angry throw. He threw that with some velocity, frustrated at the way things have gone the second half.
A nice break throw right there by Noah Saul, opening it up to Allen, and then beautiful lane throw. No chance for Lewis to get the D on there. And Nutt's still having a pretty good game, but he definitely is having more turnovers than he thought he was going to have when he spoke to you earlier today.
Well, they've had to rely on him a little bit too much. I mean, you want your leaders to come out firing, and we saw that. Nutt starting the game on a great roll. No turnovers and several goals and assists or several assists. But when you're relying on that one-dimensional game plan of, throwing to your athletes and you don't have anything else going, you're going to start to have some mistakes. And it's just impossible to play as flawless as Raleigh has required Nutt to do.
The AUDL saw an impressive comeback last week when the Minnesota wind chill blew a fourth quarter lead to the Pittsburgh Thunderbirds. If Raleigh is going to have to come up with their own comeback right now, it's going to have to start soon, as Dallas has a 7-point lead. Oh! And just as we spoke, unfortunately, looks like a strip call on Thomas Slack by Jeff Norgren, but it was an impressive D nonetheless.
Be great if we could get a replay of that.
Yeah, a little replay of this and see if it's slowed down. Oh, I don't know about that one. From that angle, it looks like Norgren does get there in time.
Gosh, whenever you're the defender in front, able to get a hand in there. Impressive layout D called back from Jeff Nordgren.
And quickly, we have a goal by the Dallas Roughnecks. Gibson finding Laurie, and really unfortunate for Raleigh right there. A huge layout bid by Jeff Nordgren. And Dallas able to get a second chance and take advantage of that. Nice little high release right over the top of his defender. Laurie able to coast in there for the goal. 20-12, Dallas up. That's 3 assists for Gibson in the third quarter alone. He's starting to come alive.
Switching to Worley.
It's only the third quarter and with 5 minutes to go. The energy out here feels like everything is in favor of Dallas right now. The fans are quiet. You can hear the sound of the generators on the field. It's so quiet here. Raleigh really needing something to get them going.
Jack Williams sprinting up the sidelines, trying to get them started, finds Justin Allen. Big mark by Kai Marshall. Jonathan Nethercutt getting the disc.
And I like Jack Williams handling the disc. He had to do that for UNCW, his college team, being an every other type of player.
Oh, and an impressive catch through contact by Ben Dieter, through Dan Emmons. The two showing some sportsmanship with the other. And some rain starting to fall here at Wake Med Soccer Park. I still think we'll be all right from the big clouds that are just a little bit north of us. Nethercutt breaking the mark with a high release of his own, finding Cisco. Back to Nethercutt, and able to get it to Matt Bode. And that's Nutt's 7th assist of the day here. He really has been distributing the disc pretty well, especially near the goal line. Something you like to see out of your center handler.
I mean, really, the Raleigh Flyers just need someone else to step up. You know, Nutt has 7 goals thrown, but he also has 5 turnovers. So, you know, they're just relying on him a little bit too much and need to spread the load. And you see Jack Williams coming in, handling, taking some of that pressure off. I like that look.
Malachek uncorking a huge flick huck, but it's going to sail up there. It's going to give Tim McAllister a chance to box Kirk Gibson. Now he's doing a great job. That's just incredible body control by Tim McAllister there. He's given up several inches to Kirk Gibson, but able to say, as you said, he's so strong, an ex-football player, to box his offensive player out of the picture.
And you like the refs there not calling any of that contact.
2 minutes and 45 seconds, Raleigh with the break opportunity.
And look what that swing does for the Raleigh offense. They move the disc across the field, and all of a sudden, there's people open downfield.
And Noah Saul taking a shot here to Mike Pannoni. He should be able to reel this one in, and that's a break for the Raleigh Flyers.
And you talk about the throw of the future, folks. That is the throw of the future. Throwing the flick, backside shoulder to Mike Pannoni, not giving the defender a chance to make a play. But it all started, Noah Saul picking that disc up on the goal line and swinging it all the way across the field, helping them generate, I think, the first defensive score for the Raleigh Flyers. They've had 2 breaks, but I'm pretty sure those were both executed by the offense.
And like you said earlier, it's all about getting your defensive offense some confidence. And right there, having Noah Saul, Jacob Fairfax, you know, offensive players on the D-line, but of course they can play defense. And it's important to have them on the field to be able to generate some good offensive flow, as they were able to do here. Now we see Jonathan Nethercutt with the pull coming over to the D-line.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting into a part of the game where you're going to start to see Mike Denardis loading up line after line, especially on D, knowing that he has to generate a handful of breaks here to get himself back in the game.
Ooh, and Micah Hood with the big bid attempt on Thomas Slack, unable to get there.
You also might see a little bit more fronting from the Raleigh Flyers, because if Dallas is going to score, they want it to happen fast. They don't want Dallas to throw pass after pass and really force that possession-style offense that Raleigh was trying to the Raleigh D was trying to implement on the Dallas Roughnecks in the first half. Now you might see them fronting a little bit more, saying, take that quick shot.
And it looks like with 2 minutes left in the third quarter, a Dallas timeout that will reset the stall count. But important downfield defending from the Raleigh Flyers there, as they are trailing 20-14 here in the third quarter. Going back to what you talked about with them fronting their defenders, they want to, you know, Dallas has taken good shots today in terms of downfield throws, but the Hucks have been kind of floaty. They've been 50-50 balls, generally what we haven't seen out of their good throwers in the past. This is important for Raleigh. They have good, athletic, tall bodies down the field. This is something that they want to exploit, hoping to get more break opportunities.
No, it's without question that the best opportunities for the Raleigh Flyers to get Ds this game has been when Dallas has stretched the ball deep. If they can entice Dallas to continue that trend, they might be able to come up with a few more Ds. The real question is, can the Raleigh defensive offense bring the disc up the field? Because so far they've been able to get the turn, but they haven't been able to generate that much offensive pressure.
If Raleigh can get a break here, that puts them within 5. And that's doable for one quarter. Little contact there by McAllister. Gibson getting a little frustrated.
Gibson's played against that pressure before. Tim McAllister's not the first defender, believe me, to put a body on Kurt Gibson to try to take him out of the game.
Pope, are you speaking from experience there?
People have been trying that for a long time, and without much success.
Oh, and a huge layup by Justin Allen, but Stanley Peterson able to come up with that. And a goal there from Peterson finding Matt Jackson.
Looked like that throw was going to be a little tight to the sideline, but Matt Jackson making that catch look routine.
As we see here on the replay, Justin Allen coming in really hot, just out of his fingertip range. Peterson able to then put the throw down the sideline. Throws the disc out of bounds so that it can curl back inbounds right into the path of Matt Jackson. 21-14 Dallas with 1 minute and 13 seconds remaining. If Raleigh's quick here, they can probably get another opportunity to get a break before this quarter comes to an end.
And it's all smiles on the Dallas sideline here. A lot of high fives, a lot of good body. It's definitely a winning posture. Good body language over here on the sideline of the Dallas Roughnecks. They're feeling pretty confident at this point.
They don't seem very worried about the threat that Raleigh might pose them. Goose here on the sideline.
And I like this, swinging the disc.
It's a bigger field than the USAU field. It gives opportunities for these kind of throws to happen, and somebody forgot to guard the 18-year-old. Liam Sears-Bowles streaking deep. Guess who? Jonathan Nethercutt hitting him. 21-15 Dallas.
And the difference there for Jonathan Nethercutt is he's throwing that huck off of movement as opposed to getting the disc in the middle of the field, having cuts develop in front of him, and then trying to hit that throw. He's moving, and then it makes it much easier to change the point of attack and have those throws. You know, instead of a small window, throwing into a small window, you have a much larger one there for Nethercutt to execute.
Absolutely, and Liam taking advantage of the lack of defense being called right there. That was a quick score for Raleigh. They have 45 seconds, and this is important because they do come out on offense in the fourth quarter, so if they can stop Dallas from scoring, it almost works as a break. If they can get a break on this point, then it offers as a double break, which would be extremely important to their comeback opportunities.
I know obviously we're rooting for the tight game here, but you know, it's really going to take a lot at this point for Raleigh to get back in this game. You know, generating a break here would absolutely help, but it seems like they're protecting the house and letting Dallas just swing this quarter to a close.
Yeah, with 25 seconds left and dropping, Dallas is in their third of the field. Mickle with the disc now. They are not really pressuring the downfield. It's Coffin finding slack. 10 seconds remaining. We're going to have to start looking for deep shots coming soon. Gibson drops a high release, and it looks like Matt Jackson's going to have to take a shot here. Oh, and that's definitely not going to reach the end zone. And that's a good win for the Raleigh Flyers. They're able to not allow Dallas to score before that third quarter ends. But Dallas still remains at 21-15 lead at the end of the third quarter. All right, and we're back. The fourth quarter begins. Dallas is up 21-15. They're pulling to the Raleigh Flyers. And
you know, CJ, we've talked a lot in this game about, you know, can Raleigh get back in? And, you know, we want to see a close game, but don't let that take away from the exceptional play Dallas has shown us today. Really dominating from the first point. Taking advantage of their opportunities, their short field opportunities.
Absolutely, and not to mention the fact that Dallas, where they have taken advantage of Raleigh Flyers' turns, you know, Dallas hasn't done that to themselves. They have been a machine, swinging the disc, as you've said, so great, moving the field, giving themselves better lanes to throw through. They really have been clinical today, but here comes Raleigh. Big throw from Nutt finding Bode.
And that throw is great. But you're standing there in the middle of the field, you're waiting for a long cut to develop, and the disc is just sitting in one position. The defenders don't have to change their point of attack.
Right there, Riggins with a really athletic D on Terrence Mitchell. Looks like that throw kind of sailed up a little bit on him. Another turnover from Jonathan Nethercutt. Mazer playing a little give-go action with Freechild. Over to Frood. Oh, and a really athletic bookends right there from Zach Riggins. Another break for the Dallas Roughnecks.
All right, go into replay.
And you can tell right there, Emmons coming down with a really athletic play.
All right, back up top.
Another break for another break for the Dallas Roughnecks, asserting their dominance in this game, 22-15. Like you've talked about, they have just been a machine. Another careless turnover by the Flyers. Another high throw from Nethercutt.
Well, it's just the pressure. I mean, Dallas is, applying more pressure than Raleigh's able to manage offensively. I thought they had a good thing going. It looks like they might go back to a little bit with Jack Williams back there handling, trying to go with a little bit more of a high-paced, handler-heavy strategy.
And Justin Allen taking a shot here for Matt Bode, but it seems to die a little bit. And Lewis comes down with that.
Yeah, that's a tough angle for the wind. The wind sort of pushing the front edge of that disc down, not allowing it to travel as far as Justin Allen had intended.
We talked earlier about certain players other than Jonathan Nethercutt having to step up for the Flyers, and unfortunately right there, that's not an example of that. Freechild with a nice inside release, finding Mazer. Raleigh just, another incredible catch, this time by the 6'6" Joel Clutton, getting low to the ground.
And it's funny, I talked to, talking to the Raleigh Flyers, they had a viewing party last week celebrating Coach Mike DeNardis' 40th birthday party 2 weeks ago. And, watching the Jacksonville-Dallas game, which was a little bit of a sloppy game to start with, Dallas eventually controlling that game much like they are here. And, you talk to them and you say, all right, who do you guys want to play? And resoundingly, they wanted the shot at Dallas. I don't think that, the ego and swag that the Raleigh Flyers had, they definitely think that, given a home game matchup on their field, they have the firepower, and they wanted to go through Dallas to show that, they belong as one of those top teams in the AUDL. Unfortunately, mistakes today have not brought that same game plan that they were hoping to execute.
And we talk about mistakes, they're primarily unforced errors too. You see that, in any sport, whenever there's unforced errors, how they can kill a team. And today, Raleigh is unfortunately the culprit of their own demise.
And here you're seeing what they call Williams offense here. Jack Williams every other.
And Williams finding Sears Bowles for the goal to somewhat stop the bleeding.
Jack Williams is such a stud.
A Callahan nominee for UNC Wilmington. He didn't get to play in many games this year because of a sore hamstring after his college championship run, but clearly a great player.
Yeah, many AUDL games. I mean, he dominated the college circuit this year, leading his team to a finals appearance, playing through that hurt hamstring in the finals. Just amazing heart. Such a young player, future leader in the sport. You should be seeing exciting plays from him for years to come.
Absolutely. Saul here with the pull. Ten minutes left in the fourth quarter. Dallas in no rush at all. Just going to be content with playing their game, their dominant game. And here comes thought Laurie was going to release it here. Malachek going to take the shot here, finding Gibson. That is a bomb. Oh, McAllister closes really well on the play. He comes up a little limp. Gibson extending with, you said, that nice opposite hand, the left hand going up there, making a really athletic play.
And the strategy for the Raleigh Flyers to keep Kurt Gibson away from the disc, push him downfield, has led to some turnovers in this game. But you give a player like Kurt Gibson enough tries that he's going to make you pay.
When you have throwers like Brandon Malachek and Jimmy Mickle as your handlers, it's only a matter of time before those deep throws start to cash in for your team. Freechild with the pull here. Towering backhand. Ooh.
And the Dallas Roughneck players really sideline getting up, cheering their defense on, really trying to put a stamp on this game, to finish it out.
You know, sideline presence is always important and ultimate as Brian Casey takes a shot here to Nethercutt. Oh, and a really nice catch right there by Nethercutt. He's been usually throwing most of these games, but on this point he rises above Larberg, able to make the nice catch. All right, 8:53 left in the fourth quarter. Sears Bowles with the pull. Nice pull right there. High, towering, deep.
And it's now or never time for Raleigh. I mean, chances are slim for them coming back in this game, but if they have any hope, they got to start generating some turns with a quickness.
Oh, hold on a second. We got a player down. It's David Richardson. Didn't see what happened, but quickly go to replay, maybe figure out what happened.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a calf cramp. Getting stretched out by his teammate, Shane Cisco. You know, it's a long season in the AUDL. You play a lot of games. You play a lot on turf. Really takes a toll on the body. Raleigh Flyers forced to have most of their practices on turf, which can be really tough on the body. Weather so indecisive in North Carolina. Finding reliable fields always a difficult thing, and you know this game is, you know, the field is bigger, the players are faster, and a lot of these guys are doing double duty, playing on more than just their AUDL teams. And at this point in the year, bodies are war-torn and battle-tested.
Absolutely. Most of the Raleigh Flyers are obviously a part of Raleigh Ring of Fire. And Pope, as you would know, as a alumnus of both Raleigh Flyers and Ring of Fire, you know what kind of wear and tear the body gets under on playing both teams. And as we see David Richardson limp off, hopefully that is not a serious problem that will keep him off the field for too long. But a big loss for the Raleigh Flyers in this fourth quarter. Looks like Nethercutt's now replacing him. Oh, and Pannoni trying to get the layout D on Laurie. Low throw to Mickle.
And you've seen Dallas run that give and go to initiate their offense.
And a shot here.
About a dozen times this game.
Oh, and a great defensive there by Mike Pannoni.
Mike Pannoni doing his job, staying in front of the receiver, going up early and often, as they say.
Mike Pannoni, a veteran of the AUDL, played for the Buffalo Hunters in the original AUDL season. And Nutt trying to find him here as he streaks past Ben Laurie for his attempt. And nice sky attempt, finding Micah Hood.
That was a really difficult throw to bring in. Mike Pannoni making it look routine.
And that's another break for the Raleigh Flyers, 24-18.
And bookends for Mike Pannoni, giving his team a little bit of a spark.
And here's the throw by Nethercutt. This is not an easy throw to read, but with Pannoni's wheels, he was the second fastest person at the Raleigh Flyers Combine this year. And using that speed to break away from Ben Laurie, and Williams able to move the disc, swinging it, finding that wide open Mike Pannoni for, like you said, the bookends, his second break goal of the game.
You know, as good as Jack Williams is as a receiver, I think that Raleigh has really found something, allowing him to stay back with the disc, controlling some of that handler movement. He's really kept the pace up for the Raleigh Flyers when they've had the disc. Shown a little bit more of a little bit different dimension than when the Raleigh Flyers are very nut-centric.
Mm-hmm.
But they need more. They need a lot more if they're going to do anything here in the waning minutes of the fourth quarter.
They're down 6 with less than 8 minutes left in the quarter, in the game, their season perhaps. They're going to need to start making moves here. Jacob Fairfax tasked with guarding Kirk Gibson. And here comes a shot from Gibson. That's a floaty throw. And it was a lot of contact there, but I don't think that Freechild was ever gonna make that play. And Nutt's taking the shot immediately here to Norgren, and that is an absolute bomb of a throw. Oh! And that was incredible double defense there by Gibson and Malachek. Norgren unable to come down with that. Looks like it hit his hand though.
And a miscommunication on the dump for Kurt Gibson and Brandon Malachek. Finally, the Raleigh Flyers get a gift from Dallas, a short field break. And we're within 5. Maybe the last gasp for Raleigh, the last attempt at a comeback here. Can they keep the defense on the field and keep these breaks rolling?
Absolutely. I mean, that's 2 turns by Kurt Gibson in the same point. It's something you don't see very often. And right there, Raleigh didn't take advantage of the first, but you know when the disc is on the goal line, Brett Matsuka is going to absolutely take advantage of that one. 24-19, 6 minutes and 43 seconds. Let's see if Raleigh can keep it going.
And that first D was really a product of the dump pressure that Brett Matsuka was putting on Brandon Malachek. Kurt Gibson looked back at the dump, saw that his man was blanketed, and then had to look back upfield and just get the disc out of his hands. And that led to that first turnover, which Nutt promptly sent back downfield, and then they got to turn on the goal line for the easy put-in. And a little bit of hope for the Raleigh Flyers. And right now it's all about pressuring the dumps, maybe forcing them to take a shot downfield and hoping your athletes can come up with a play.
And it looks like Dallas has switched up their handlers. Their usual Malachek and Gibson set is now off, and it's now Mazer. And
a little bit of excitement for the fans. Fans getting a little bit of a stomp going.
They're back in it. They're feeling it. They want this Raleigh Flyers comeback. They don't want their season to end. And another turn. Oh my goodness, what is going on here? Physical mark there by Dalton Smith. Matsuka able to get around it, and Nethercutt taking the shot. He's got Matt Bode. That's another break for the Raleigh Flyers.
Great concentration by Matt Bode, bringing that laser beam by Nethercutt in. And we have a 4-point game. 5 minutes and 48 seconds left. It looks like Dallas is going to burn a timeout. You definitely like to save those timeouts for when you're on the field and your defense gets a possession, but Dallas choosing to stop a little bit of this momentum, regroup.
And Nutt with another assist on the day. He's just been very consistent with the throws. He has turned the disc over more than it is, usual for us to see from Nutt. That's eight assists for the game to go along with 3 goals.
And so far, we've seen this from Nethercutt in the past. He can be a very high ceiling player. He can also be a very low floor player. You're going to get some swings in both directions. You kind of saw when I don't know if you remember in the third quarter when he sort of got the disc in the middle of the field and threw that frustration low laser to Shane Cisco. Since then, he's been playing pretty lights out.
And now the crowd's into it. The feet are stomping. The hands are clapping. They're feeling it. Dallas, it's still pretty professional over here on the sideline, though. They don't seem to be worried. Strangely enough, the turns have been coming from their handlers. It hasn't been downfield throws. They've been swings. Saw the Gibson one get away from them, but it was 3 in a row from their handlers. Let's see if Raleigh can get yet another break and put this game within 3 points.
And you like the defensive pressure that Raleigh's applying right now. You wonder where that's been for parts of the game, but sometimes when your back's against the wall, the Raleigh Flyers known for putting in some of their best work when there seems like there's almost no hope. And the downfield cuts are just not there for Dallas right now.
And you can hear the coaches on the sideline yelling at Jimmy Mickle, "You're holding the disc too long." I'm wondering if that's because he doesn't see any options open. And here comes Freechild on power position. And opts to not huck it. Hits slack underneath. Now Dallas swinging it. Ooh, big bid there by Shane Cisco. Uh-oh.
And you hope that's not his shoulder. Periodically had shoulder injuries throughout his ultimate career. Some dislocations. Hoping he's all right. And you see Dylan Freechild come back, starting out the point as a cutter. Seeing Jimmy Mickle and Mechanix start to struggle moving the disc, and all of a sudden Dylan comes back and boom, give and go time. A little bit of a spark for the Dallas offense and good adjustment.
And of course, if you shut him down, you still have to worry about Gibson and Mickle. And there's a goal to Jay Frood. That's a quick, not a quick goal, but an important goal for Dallas to maintain a 5-point lead. As Mechanix finding Frood.
And it just goes to show the pace of this game. It seems like Raleigh just grabbed back a lot of momentum, rolling off a couple breaks, and they're still down 5.
It speaks
With under 5 minutes to go.
I'll say it speaks to that machine-like offense you were talking about earlier, Pope, about how Dallas has been so consistent with the disc. When you rack up a 9-point lead, if you give up 3 breaks in a row, yeah, it's not the greatest, but you're still up so much, and all you have to do is go back to the way you were playing, maintaining now a 5-point lead. With under 5 minutes left to play, Raleigh's going to have to be pretty quick about their scores here. We got Chris Larberg running that pull down. He's still got plenty left in the tank. A lot of people on the sideline. Nutt's able to put a nice throw out to space for Liam. Oh, and a wide open Brian Casey for the goal, and that is a quick goal for the Raleigh Flyers.
And that's really the first point where Raleigh's been able to execute their four-man play. You know, you saw Liam Sears Bowl go into the lane, create space, realize he was being fronted a little bit, get out, Goose with the fill, Terrence with the continuation cut, and they were able to generate some downfield continuation, which just takes a lot of pressure off of your handlers, having to reset several times a point.
We talk about the hockey assistant ultimate, the throw before the goal was thrown, and right there, Jonathan Nethercutt with a sweet up-the-line throw, finding Liam Sears Bowles, throws it out to space for him to run onto, really sets up that flow that allowed Liam to hit Brian Casey, who had moved up from his handler position. Big towering pull here.
And the wind picking up ever so slightly, a couple raindrops starting to fall. You know, Dallas moving in the more upwind direction here.
You would expect Raleigh to maybe be a little bit tighter here, trying to pressure the throws. And here comes Coffin, who's throwing it to, I think he was looking for Mickle, but that's a
miscommunication.
Yep.
Mickle thought the throw was looked off, and disc went up. Huge opportunity for Raleigh. They need this.
Swing here.
And they have people open underneath.
Looks like a timeout here called by Mike DeNardis.
Mike DeNardis not taking any chances with this turn, realizing the importance of getting something right here. Can't take the timeouts with you. Down 4, have to have a break here.
This is an absolute critical point for the Raleigh Flyers, and as we see on that last point, Abe Coffin maybe taking a shot that he thought he had, but it wasn't there, and a little miscommunications with Jimmy Mickle, and it's giving Raleigh that life that they need. I mean, we talked about it earlier in the quarter. The start of the fourth quarter, it was 22-15. Then they broke to go up 23-15. Raleigh has been defensively sound this quarter. You wonder where that's been all game. And it might have been a closer game, perhaps even Raleigh winning, but now it's all that matters. The Raleigh offense taking the field. Dallas obviously switching their defense on. Nethercutt, Goose Helton, Matt Bowe, Terrence Mitchell, Jack Williams, Jacob Fairfax, and Ben Dieter. Looks like Bowe will be Nethercutt's dump, and let's see if Raleigh can strike fast here. Now taking the shot here for Terrence Mitchell. Oh, I think he's going to get there. Oh, and a great attempt by number 25, Lewis. But Terrence Mitchell able to run that one down. Another break for the Raleigh Flyers, 25-22 with 3 minutes and 19 seconds remaining.
And the beauty of that score was the speed. Raleigh able to score with using up only a little bit of clock. You can start to stretch this game out just a little bit if you force your opponent to take quick shots downfield. I've seen Coach Mike DeNardis in the past implement a short field strategy, not doing full pulls and trying to get him trapped with some short field. If you don't let your opponent have the full field, they're not going to take as much time trying to take their shots and keep the field short, keep the defense compact. Looks like they're going to continue to stretch it right now, though.
Are you surprised that Dallas is not really backing their defender, the people that they're defending? I feel like if I'm Dallas's defenders, I want to be behind my people because I know that Raleigh's just going to look to huck real fast. And a really dangerous throw right there as Jackson is able to catch that before Matsuka makes a trolley D.
I think to answer your question, I think Dallas came into this with a game plan of forcing Raleigh to take shots deep, and they're not going to go away from it just because Raleigh's been able to inch back in this game a little bit.
They're on the goal line now. Mikkel with the disc, working with Freechild.
Moving the disc laterally.
It's been their game plan the whole time. And Matt Jackson is able to snare that one out of the air. 26-22 with 2 minutes and 32 seconds remaining.
All right, going to replay? On replay.
Nice high release there from Frood. The high release lefty. Finding Jackson.
Yeah, back up top.
I don't think it's a... I think Frood is a lefty, right?
Oh, yeah, no, he is a lefty. That's his normal throw, but a nice high release throw indeed.
And Dallas can smell it now.
Well, 2 minutes and 32 seconds. Pope, I remember when we were in Atlanta, and this was a similar score. And the hustle managed to pull one back on us. Let's see if Raleigh can muster up their own. They've played well, very admirably in this fourth quarter. Not opting not to huck it to Williams there, being guarded by Marshall. Swings across the field to Brian Casey. He also opts not to huck it.
And the seconds just ticking away here.
Oh, a big bid by Dalton Smith, who looks like he's injured. Looks like he's cramping a little bit. It's a lot of cramps in this game. Big bid here by Dalton Smith. Really good concentration by Brian Casey to be able to squeeze that.
And you wondered if Dallas was going to look like the same team after losing Bo Kittredge this season. And in some ways, the replacement, I know Evan Lepler, we've talked about this on the air before, but, you know, adding Jay Frood has been more than, and Abe Coffin has been, you know, more than a replacement for Cassidy and Bo. And in some ways, their offense is a little bit more dynamic not having Bo out there. Hard to say that because Bo adds such a dimension to what the defense has to plan for, but you know, you're seeing a lot of small ball, a lot of swings side to side, and Dallas really just controlling this game.
Brian Casey taking a shot here. Nethercutt being guarded by Mazer. Oh, and a really nice catch there by Nethercutt. Quick score. 26-23, 1 minute and 51 seconds remaining in the game.
Going to replay, on replay.
And Nutt continuing to stack the stats line. Goals and assists.
Do you think he's your MVP for this year, Pope?
For the Raleigh Flyers or?
Just for the league. I know that there's been Tuesday talks throwing around his name about MVP. You know, he is one of the best assist throwers out there.
You know, I think he's definitely in the conversation, but, you know, you're definitely looking for your MVP to pull your team to a win in these playoff games. I think the MVP of the league will be in Montreal. You know, can be the same sort of conversation. Last year, you know, was Misha the MVP, scoring 96 goals for Jacksonville. But at the same time, come championship weekend, he's sitting on the couch watching it. It's hard to say that You know, he's the MVP.
Same thing with Tennell.
Yeah.
Tennell having a great season last year, but unfortunately Atlanta losing in that game to Dallas. Similar to if Nethercutt would be the MVP, you know, would they go down here? But 1 minute and 30 seconds remain in the game. Dallas on the goal line, and Thomas Slack grabbing the goal for the Dallas Roughnecks, 27-23. You know, we haven't seen that double team roller pull from the Flyers too much this game. I think that was the first one we've seen. Now, that is a patented Raleigh Flyers move over their 3-year period of being in the AUDL.
Well, it's strictly at this point trying to save clock. You force your opponent into a short field situation. There's more defenders and less space. You're hoping that you can generate a turn, but it does put some more pressure on your offense to continue to have to score.
Never mind. Going back to work.
It's definitely an interesting strategy, and there's definitely both sides of whether or not it's effective.
And Dallas, even though they've been broken 4 times in this fourth quarter alone, they're still able to score when it matters to show that grit. Nutt's going to take the shot. Looks like Fairfax is streaking. A really athletic play there by Jacob Fairfax. Can he see? He does. Find Dieter, who's able to get the goal. Quick score by the Flyers, 27-24.
And you love to see that grab by Dieter. You wonder how many more years Ben Dieter is going to be able to put on that uniform, making a tremendous impact in the first 3 years of the Raleigh Flyers. Getting the nod in this game.
And back up top.
A staple for so many years on the Ultimate Fields in North Carolina, playing for Cash Crop and for Ring of Fire. He's joined Boneyard this year.
And don't forget those eye rates.
He'll let you remember that. There's a lot of eye rates out there today, and especially in the stands. Here's another roller, but unfortunately this one doesn't go out. Lands in the middle of the field. 1 minute and 6 seconds left. Raleigh's going to have to string together some really quick scores here. Dallas' sideline urging their their offensive players to hold the disc for as long as possible. They're just going backfield now. 49 seconds.
And it's a strategy you don't see a lot, just blatant clock burning. You know, I think it can go either way, but, 3 or 4 point lead, under a minute.
Oh, a nice bid by McAllister, but apparently there was a strip call. Apparently McAllister's looking for the integrity call, but
no, I think he's saying yes, it was a strip.
Staying with the offense here. And Gibson with the disc now. 14 seconds. Nice bid there by Cisco. 10 seconds remaining. Looks like another calf cramp.
Kind of a painful time to stop the clock. 8 seconds to go.
So as Dallas wraps up this game, Pope, are they your favorites for championship weekend? I mean, we don't know who the three other teams, but...
It's true, but it's hard to not have the defending champions in the conversation, knocking off the top-ranked team in the Raleigh Flyers. Seemingly with ease today. I don't think that this game was ever in doubt from the moment it started. Dallas has been able to control going out to an early lead, allowing the Raleigh Flyers to have some thoughts that they might be able to close the gap, but each time Dallas able to re-extend their lead, showing that last year was not a fluke for this team. This team has a little bit of something, and once you've been there, once you've won, you know how to handle those moments being in these super important games. And, you know, they just executed better than the Raleigh Flyers did today.
You know, going forward with the Flyers for next year, what do you think they need to improve upon to beat this Dallas Roughnecks team to get to championship weekend again like they did when they went to San Jose 2 years ago?
Well, it's tough to say. I think, you know, you're going to continue to see a lot of the younger guys on this team grow as players, but they have to find something else besides just running the offense through, you know, Jonathan Nethercutt. You know, they're not going to win a championship with Jonathan Nethercutt having, you know, 15 assists. They need some other guys to step up. You know, and it's great when it's working, but when it starts to run into some roadblocks, you got to have a plan B to go to. And unfortunately, the Flyers didn't have that today.
Absolutely. 7 seconds left. Taking a shot here. Brian Casey unable to find it. Looks like the clock is going to run out on the next throw. And the Dallas Roughnecks will be the AUDL South Division champions as the disc is swung to Chris Mazer. And that's the ball game. 27-24. Raleigh making a comeback to make this an honest game, but there really was no question at the beginning of this game who was going to come out on top. Any final words, Pope?
No, I thought it was a great game. You know, great officiating by the referees. They really let them play. You know, very clean game, and you know these two teams have a lot of respect for each other. This didn't go out the way that the Raleigh Flyers wanted. Obviously, Dallas is excited to head back to their second consecutive championship weekend. They're my favorites to win it all, and we'll see if they can pull it off.
Absolutely. Well, from Wake Med Soccer Park, I'm CJ Colicchio along with Taylor Pope as we bid you adieu. And good luck to Dallas as they go to Montreal for championship weekend.